We've got 8 total teams on bye weeks this week, which not only moves certain kickers up in the rankings this week, but it also emphasizes how important it is to get kickers right on this type of a week. So we're going through the top 12 kickers for Week 8 fantasy football, and I'm one of the only fantasy YouTubers who covers kickers on a weekly basis. So go down there and drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to show your support. Now, getting into our first tier, we've got Mr. Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys in his rightful place at number 1. They're going to Denver to take on the Broncos. Now, I want to first just highlight something because this isn't covered enough, and I haven't done it enough. Brandon Aubrey, what we're seeing from him is some of the greatest kicking I've ever seen in my lifetime, and I think in NFL history. His leg is unbelievably strong. You should have seen it last week against the Washington Commanders. He kicked like a 60-yard field goal, and it looked like he was just like messing around. Like, he did not give any of his all in there, and it was right down the freaking middle with so many yards to spare. What we're seeing with Brandon Aubrey is absolutely outrageous, and that's what gives him just this enormous high ceiling of a fantasy kicker because the offense is obviously doing well. What really matters is if they end up getting stopped enough times for him to kick a 50 or 60 yarder because he'll hit it every single time. I think this week Denver's defense is going to give him that opportunity to hit 50 and 60 yarders possibly several times in this game because we all know Denver's defense is very good. Brandon Aubrey doesn't get enough credit for how legendary he has been so far. At number 2, I've got Chris Boswell of the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Green Bay Packers at home on Sunday Night Football. Now, I think Chris Boswell has done, for the most part, very good in fantasy football. Now, on Thursday night, it was a little bit disappointing because of the fact that they were scoring tons of touchdowns. He kicked 4 extra points and only 1 field goal. So that led him to having 8 fantasy points total. I think that this week, there's going to be more field goals. The Packers defense made some improvements. They got after the Arizona Cardinals quarterback with Jacoby Brissett. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, they're going to leave opportunities out there and have Aaron Rodgers get sacked and have Boswell kick a couple 40, 50 yarders. I think Boswell is in good position this week. And at number 3 to round out this tier, Cam Dicker on Thursday night against the Minnesota Vikings in Los Angeles. I think there's a couple different things at play here. Number 1, the Minnesota Vikings have pretty much one of the worst quarterback situations in the entire league. The only reason they're 3-3 is because they've got tons of talent and excellent coaching. But I also think that's a reason why the Chargers are going to be stopped in their tracks a lot of times. The Chargers are going to be in position to where they'll be in scoring position, but the Minnesota defense, since it's so good and so aggressive with Brian Flores, they'll get after Herbert because of that bad offensive line. Maybe they'll just shut down and make a good tackle on the 40-yard line and force Cam Dicker to come out here. Either way, I think the Chargers defense is good enough to always get you down there several times a game, give Dicker opportunities, but I think the problem has been they've been very efficient scoring touchdowns this year for Cam Dicker. This week, I think it's different. On Thursday night, they get shut down a couple times, and I've got Cam Dicker at 3. Dropping down to our next tier, I've still got Chase McLaughlin at number 4. They're going to New Orleans to play the Saints. So Chase McLaughlin, his past couple of games, not been as great. And I saw something interesting. Apparently, Chase McLaughlin, like inside of 50 yards, he's got a way worse field goal percentage than he is with 50-yard plus field goals. So this past week, he doesn't have any extra point attempts. They got shut down by the Lions. Very abnormal. But he made his 50-yard long field goal, so he got 5 points to end the game. I think that this week against the Saints, they're not going to have a problem with getting down there. We know the Saints defense is nowhere close to the defense the Detroit Lions have, and I think that they're going to have plenty of opportunities. And I'll always say this. Division games, they're usually good for kickers because those teams know each other very well, which means they can make a couple more stops against an offense that's as potent as the Tampa Bay Bucks. And the Detroit Lions just set up a blueprint of how to beat Tampa Bay. So I think that without a couple more weapons, again, Mike Evans out probably for the year, they're going to settle for more field goals moving forward, and I think that this is the start. Eddie Pinheiro of the San Francisco 49ers at number 5, going to Houston to take on the Texans. Eddie Pinheiro has been fantastic. I mean, this guy has played one less game than everyone. He's averaging 12.5 fantasy points per game. That's probably more than your wide receiver 2, or your running back 2, or your flex option. Eddie Pinheiro's been fantastic in fantasy football, man. This guy has had not one game, actually one game with less than 10 fantasy points. He has not missed anything yet. Nada. Actually, he missed an extra point. No field goals missed, though. He's been excellent, and the San Francisco offense, regardless of if it's Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, they're going to stall out sometimes, which gives him plenty of field goal opportunities. And Houston's defense is really tough, so I expect them to get down there enough times to get them in range and Eddie Pinheiro to be able to close the deal on a 30, 40, 50-yard field goal. Opportunities are never a shortage for San Francisco's kickers, and Eddie Pinheiro has been money this year. Eddie Pinheiro easy at number 5. Matt Prater of the Buffalo Bills coming off the bye week to take on the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. I've got him at 6 this week, and really it comes down to the fact that I think the bye week will do really well for the Bills. I think they probably spent the bye doing a lot of soul searching. I mean, they've lost 2 straight heading into the bye week. Their offense has been lethargic over the past 2 weeks, and their defense has been absolutely abysmal. Now, the defense part, that doesn't matter necessarily. I think what it comes down to is Matt Prater here is just going to be in a better position moving forward because the Bills against the Panthers defense, that's already a good situation for a matchup in an offense. I think coming off the bye week, it makes it better. My point being, they're going to be in position to score a lot. Now, I don't consider him to be a massive great play because of the fact that the Bills could score a lot of touchdowns this week, but I do think they're going to get down there enough, and you want scoring opportunities for your kicker. Kaimi Fairbairn's at 7 to round out this tier. They're taking on the San Francisco 49ers in Houston this week, and Fairbairn's been good. I mean, Kaimi Fairbairn is just one of those kickers that if he was on an offense that was a little bit more consistent, I would have on my team every day. The problem is that the Texans offense has been so atrocious this year that it's hard to know how often he's going to get down there and into range because he doesn't have the most significant leg. It's not a bag leg. I mean, he's kicked a 57-yard long. He just doesn't really have much 60-plus yard range. But Kaimi Fairbairn still been very good outside of one bad performance this year, and the 49ers defense is being ravaged with injuries still. Like, they're still losing guys. It's actually insane to watch. With the 49ers defense with Robert Saleh, I expect them to make a couple stops just because the Texans offensive line cannot protect CJ Stroud. So I think that he'll be in range plenty of times to give them the go-ahead and get opportunities to get them 3 points. I'll say this. I think a guy like Matt Prater, Kaimi Fairbairn, maybe Eddie Pinheiro, still on your waiver wire. And you need to make sure your kicker position is locked up this week because it's bye Mageddon. There's tons of team on bye, and you need to make sure you get the right kicker by using our automatic waiver tool. Because always what happens, there's a mad dash to the waiver wire after the priority ads run through, and you can pick up players for free off of free agency waiver wire. That process has been automated if you go to fsroundup.com and utilize our automatic waiver wire tool. That means that you can sleep through the night, beat the people by kicking up the better kicker, while the other guys, they try to get those guys while you're sleeping at 3 in the morning, and then you wake up to an angry text from your league mate saying, how did you beat me to the waiver wire this morning? That's what our tool has done, and we've gotten tons of great testimonials for it. So make sure to sign up for fsroundup.com today because we just lowered the price from $8.88 a month to $6 flat per month. Great price change makes everybody able to do this no matter where you live in the world. Now, dropping down to our next tier. It's a smaller tier. I've got Brandon McManus of the Green Bay Packers going to Pittsburgh this week on Sunday night to take on the Steelers. Now, Brandon McManus is a questionable tag, and so is the other kicker in here, but we'll start with McManus. He's missed 2 games straight now, so we don't know if McManus is going to play, but I'm going to project that he plays because he's missed a couple games, and I think he comes back. And regardless of who the kicker is here, I want in on this option because Pittsburgh's defense is hot and cold. They will come out hot sometimes and really shut you down and create turnovers. That's a problem. But sometimes they give up a lot. And Green Bay's offense is lethargic, but they are powerful and they are very, very high energy. So I think Green Bay will get into position plenty of times against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers at home on Sunday night probably get up to play in this game and shut them down a couple of times. Packers aren't as turnover prone. Not as turnover happy as other teams, so I think this is a good game for them to be able to kick plenty of field goals. And then Cairo Santos of the Chicago Bears going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens this week out of the bye week. And again, Santos is questionable. We don't know for sure if he's playing. Missed his 2nd straight game. I think if he comes back, you want in on Cairo Santos. And I would say the same thing for the Bears backup kicker. If he plays again, you probably want to play him because the Ravens defense has stopped nothing. They can't stop a nosebleed. And I don't know if I really see it being much different out of the bye week. Let's say that Lamar Jackson plays. This is going to be a shootout. And if he doesn't play, the Bears are going to not be able to hold back on scoring points. Because the Bears offense, man, I like what they're doing, and I think Ben Johnson's a really good coach over there, but their offense is still lethargic. Caleb Williams missing a lot of open players, so I think that creates opportunities here for the kicker of this team because he leaves a lot out there in field goal range, and that's where the field goal kicker comes into place. So if Santos, if he plays, easy at number 9 for me. Dropping down to our last tier, Michael Badgley of the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Titans this week, and the only reason he's not higher ranked is because 2 reasons. Number 1, the Titans defense is not going to be able to stop the Colts offense. The only reason that I would consider moving him up is because, again, it's a divisional game, and they're usually good for kickers because teams usually know how other offenses are running. But the other reason I couldn't rank him higher is because the Colts, they're in this position right now to where they're scoring at freaking will. I mean, Michael Badgley has kicked 2 field goals in 2 games for this team. Meanwhile, has kicked 8 extra points. They're just too efficient right now. He's not being able to get many field goal opportunities to kick 30, 40, 50-yard field goals, and that's a problem for your fantasy upside when you're kicking 4 or 5 extra points a game. That's just not that good for fantasy output. So I think that this week it's not going to be much different against this opponent that is just definitely circling the drain right now. Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs at 11, taking on Washington on Monday night. Now, I think there's a couple things at play here. Number 1, I am projecting, and I said this on the defense rankings in the comments, I am projecting this week in all my rankings that Jaden Daniels plays. So I think this could be a shootout if that's the case. But if Jaden doesn't play, Butker may be a better option, and I might move him up because they could be in position to where they take their foot off the gas, they get down there, and then they end up just kicking a field goal. But Harrison Butker, there's going to be a lot of scoring opportunities, and the one concern I have with him, 2 concerns actually, he misses field goals. He's been missing plenty this year. And number 2, their offense has been very efficient this year. 21 extra points compared to 15 field goals. So they're getting better with Rashee Rice back. I don't think there's tons of opportunity, but if Jaden doesn't go, there's probably going to be more opportunity because they'll let up on offense and give Butker more field goal opportunities. Number 12, to round it out, Andy Beregelis of the New England Patriots taking on the Cleveland Browns this week at home. Now, this guy right here has actually had some decent games. He's the kicker number 21 on the season. And again, his biggest problem is that this offense has been way more efficient at scoring in the end zone than kicking field goals and stalling out, which is a good thing for NFL terms. But that's a reason he's only had one 10-plus point fantasy game, and that was against the Bills. I think this week the Cleveland defense is actually really good. So I do think there's a chance that they could give the New England Patriots offense some issues because they're coming off a big win themselves right now. Their confidence is probably at the best it's been this season, and New England obviously is riding very high. So I think there's a chance here that they could stall out a couple times, give them a couple field goal opportunities, but either way, they're going to be able to score points in this game. So let me know what you think of the rankings in the comments below, and if you want to see the top 12 defense rankings for this week, click on this video right here.